The Enrichment Center regrets to inform you that this next test is impossible. Make no attempt to solve it.
Oh shit. What's the point of that? So, of course, you'll remember this will vaporize any unauthorized material. Dope.
The Enrichment Center apologizes for this clearly broken test chamber.
Well, we'll just have to see about that, won't we?
Because our test chamber environments were simplified for training purposes, we created visual hotspots within the rooms to guide players' attention. The design is essentially a balance between round
Once
objects
again,
and sharp
the
objects.
Enrichment Center
The sharp
offers its
objects
most
representing
sincere
background
apologies
elements,
on
and the
the
round
occasion
objects,
of this
such as
unsolvable
doors and
test
movable
environment.
props, comprising our points of visual interest.
Gladys, I wish you hadn't talked over that, but that's okay.
For the first few months of development, we rendered the views through portals to 2 off-screen textures. This approach was easy to implement and was
Frankly,
compatible with
this
a wide
chamber
range
was
of
a
graphics
mistake.
hardware.
If we were
Unfortunately,
you,
this
we
method was
would quit
incompatible
now.
with anti-aliasing and consumed a large amount of video memory in order to handle recursive views through several portals. Because of these disadvantages, we switched to a system which renders portal views recursively into the frame buffer with the aid of the stencil buffer to isolate pixels corresponding to a given portal. This is a
No
more
one will
effective
blame
scheme
you
because
for
it's
giving up.
compatible with
In
anti-aliasing
fact,
and does not
quitting
consume
at
any
this
additional
point
video memory
is
for
a
off-screen
perfectly
textures.
reasonable response.
I'm not gonna give up, Gladys. You can just shut up. Let's see if I can actually remember how to do this. It's actually pretty simple.
Quit now,
wait, no,
and
it's not.
cake will be served immediately.
Cake? Well, I love cake, but I also love winning. And, you know, there is a way to win. So, how about we win first, and then you can give me the cake later. Whoa, careful. Look! Gladys, you said it was impossible. They laughed at me. They laughed!
Fantastic. You remain resolute and resourceful in an atmosphere of extreme pessimism.
Damn straight. You were trying to mess up my groove, and I did not allow you to do it. Did I miss any cameras? Wait a minute. Alright, let's move on to our next test chamber. We almost had a look down the elevator shaft there, but not quite. And off we go to test chamber, what is this, 7, 8, something like that? Kind of motoring along here. Pretty soon things will start to get exciting. Yep. Focus.
Hello again. To reiterate, previous one. Hold momentum.
Momentum. Huh.
Portal momentum ended up being the hardest concept to convey. For this series of puzzles, which went through more design iterations than virtually any other part of the game, we introduced the idea of redirecting your momentum using portals, slowly, step by step. We even have the AI voice pretty explicitly explain the elements of the puzzle, something we avoided throughout most of the rest of the game.
So, we have a thing, and a step we need to get up, and there's only one way to do it. Whee! Yay, gravity. Eek. There's another
Using
one.
gravity to fall into one portal so that you come rocketing out the other portal, a skill we call flinging, was another difficult concept to train. We designed a specific visual cue, a pushed-out concrete block with checkerboard tile above a pit, to indicate to players that it's time to use the fling maneuver. Repeated several times, this cue helps players associate pushed-out concrete slabs with flinging, in much the same way that players learn to associate cubes with buttons.
And see, I find this sort of thing fascinating. It's like you don't think about that when you're first playing through the game, but then you're right. That was how I learned to know when I was supposed to do this.
Spectacular. You appear to understand how a portal affects forward momentum, or to be more precise, how it does not.
Exactly. And this time, we get to do it the other direction.
Originally, these exit portal surfaces were static geometry in the final position, but playtesters stubbornly refused to look up to find them. This is another example of the classic game design problem of coaxing players to look up. By putting the portals on moving pistons, we were able to start them in a position that players were more likely to see.
And so we can do this.
Momentum, a function of mass and velocity, is conserved between portals. In layman's terms, speedy thing goes in, speedy thing comes out.
It's interesting, you can't shoot a portal on it until it stops moving, which I suppose makes sense. Be too hard to calculate, or one less thing to calculate. Whee! Speedy thing goes in, speedy thing comes out. I saw on Tumblr a while back a drink recipe. It was 2 shots. I can't remember what exactly was in them, but one of them was bright blue and one of them was bright orange. And the instructions were consume the first drink immediately, and then immediately consume the second drink. And the quote underneath was, "Speedy thing goes in, speedy thing comes out." Which I thought was pretty awesome. I kind of wanted to make it, but...
The Enrichment Center promises to always provide a safe testing environment.
Oh, good.
In dangerous testing environments, the Enrichment Center promises to always provide useful advice. For instance, the floor here will kill you. Try to avoid it.
Thanks, Gladys.
Vital testing apparatus destroyed.
Alright.
We found that rather than looking into portals to see where it went, playtesters would often leap blindly to their doom. In response to this observation, the moral of this puzzle is look before you leap. The safe orange portal is out of the player's view from this balcony. That forces them to peer through a portal to see it, which trains players in the remote viewing capabilities of portals.
So, in other words, we have to set something here, go, before it goes away. And we have a new type of button.
Originally, a weighted button was used to open the far door, but playtesters so strongly associated boxes with buttons that they'd get stuck searching hopelessly for a box. We changed the big button to a pedestal-mounted push button, thus removing the box association, but playtesters still had trouble realizing they needed to shoot a portal through the door. Adding a timer sound when the door was open cued players that the puzzle expected them to act during that time, which solved the problem.
This room is designed to build anticipation for the big moment when players finally get the fully powered portal gun. The puzzle path brings you in a circle around the device, so that it's virtually always in sight, right up until you grab it.
I wants it. I wants to make both portals at once. Pew! Because let's be honest, a blue portal's pretty cool, but there's nothing like a blue and an orange portal at the same time. Whee! And you can see we're starting to kind of get a glimpse of what this facility is like underneath these clean-edge test chambers. It's kind of messy. Kind of messy. There's a bit of an underbelly there. I don't remember what I'm supposed to do here. We have a thing there. Okay, that's right. So, we need to wait until it shoots in that direction again. And... ow. we go. And that will activate that, which turns on the unstationary scaffold. Now we need to be prepared to jump upon it as soon as possible. Now, we've already been there. We want the scaffold! We want the portal gun! Yes, we do! Yes, we do! Yes, we can! I wants it! I wants the power! I got it!
The device has been modified so that it can now manufacture 2 linked portals at once. As part of an optional test protocol, we have ceased to present an amusing fact. The device is now more valuable than the organs and combined incomes of everyone in Subject Hometown, here.
That's a bit morbid. Thanks. Okay, so... Pew! Which one did I shoot? Okay, I shot the blue one up there. So we'll shoot the orange one right there. And wait. Come back to me, scaffold. So, Chell's doing pretty well for herself, for having just woken up out of stasis. She's managed to get a magic portal device that was built by a company that clearly had way too much money and time on its hands. But for what purpose? Why is she here? We may never know, in truth. Not all of the details, anyway. Again, we do get some intimation of what happened later on. More particularly, why is there no one else here? It's just the computer that's talked to us so far.
Get your teacher, fling yourself. Fling into space.
Yay, more flinging times. I like doing the fling, it's always fun.
Player training doesn't always stick, especially after the introduction of a big new concept. For instance, after they had acquired the fully powered portal device, playtesters often forgot about the fling maneuver. Since it's such an important skill, this puzzle is designed to reintroduce the idea of flinging.
Oh, there it is. Blue and orange! Woohoo! And blue again. And orange! And we have a button. So, that's gonna open the door up there, but we need the box. It's up there. So... Oop. Blue. Seems to me I often tend to, when I'm flinging, drop down through the orange portal and shoot the blue one to jump out of. I don't really have a good reason for this. Button. Alright, door is now open. And we can fling into space. Ah, Gladys. It's good that you know how to cut loose and have a good time sometimes. Alright, we'll go a little bit longer here. See if we can get a few more test chambers under our belt before we pause. It's gonna start getting more complicated from here. Funny thing about doing the
Now that
development...
you are in control of both portals, this next test could take a very, very long time.
Oh, come on,
If you
Gladys, you
become
think so little
lightheaded
of
from
me.
thirst, feel free to pass out. An intubation associate will be dispatched to revive you with peptic salve and adrenaline.
Well, fun and relaxing as that sounds, I think I'll pass. Anyway, the funny thing about the developer commentary is it actually sometimes gives you hints if you haven't played the game before, which
When
I
we moved
have.
from largely placeholder art to a final visual design, this was the first level to get a facelift. We chose this map because it had many of our gameplay elements integrated into a relatively small space. The test chamber art direction was designed to make everything appear purposefully placed. The simple design helps focus players on the puzzles. It also provides a nice contrast to the later, much less sterile behind-the-scenes environments, which contributes to a clear sense of progression.
As I said, we've caught a few glimpses of a part of the facility that is not quite as squeaky clean. Whoop. Huzzah.